A lot of you don't understand how we are. A lot of you do not understand just how fucked up we are right now. Trump signed an executive order that gives the police authority to lock up and put in a mental institution anyone they believe or they deem to be mentally unstable or homeless people.
Thanks to Donald Trump's executive order called Ending Crime and Disorder on America's Streets, it is now illegal to be homeless, and cities and states have the right to remove homeless people to be put in either rehab institutions, which are tent cities built on the outskirts of town, or prison.
Welcome back to the channel, my people. I do hope that from wherever you all are watching this from, you are doing all right, and hopefully God has protected you and preserved you very well. Thank you to everybody that support me on here. Shout out to my members as well that continuously support through the membership program. We do have another interesting episode, and in this one we are going to be looking at reactions of Americans towards Trump's executive order of making or criminalizing homelessness and literally granting states rights to literally kidnap and capture people on the streets and force them into mental institutions, because to him there's absolutely no reason for you being homeless and for you being sick and for you falling on hard times. I don't even know at this point. Everything that Black people speculated that might happen, I don't know why I'm seeing it actually forming itself just bit by bit, right? But this video is for educational purposes only. Let's look at some of these reactions. Shout out to all the creators in here. We'll come back and talk about it. Just do me a favor, like the video, share it, and let me know what you think about this very episode.
The homeless have no right to turn every park and sidewalk into a place for them to squat and do drugs.
That was Trump 2 years ago in a campaign video addressing homelessness. Today, he put those words to paper, signing an executive order titled Ending Crime and Disorder on America's Streets. In it, he directs Attorney General Pam Bondi to attempt to end policies that limit local and state governments' abilities to move homeless people into treatment centers, redirects federal funds for transferring the unhoused to rehabilitation and treatment facilities, prohibits convicted sectors who receive homelessness assistance from being housed with children, and directs HHS, HUD, and the Department of Transportation to prioritize funding to states and cities that enforce prohibitions on open urban camping and loitering and urban squatting, and track the location of sex offenders. Governor Newsom's office responded to the order in a statement, saying in part, like so many of Trump's executive orders, this order is more focused on creating distracting headlines and settling old scores than producing any positive impact. The National Homelessness Law Center echoing the sentiment, saying the misguided order deprives people of their basic rights and makes it harder to solve homelessness.
A lot of you don't understand how fucked we are. A lot of you do not understand just how fucked up we are right now. Trump signed an executive order that gives the police authority to lock up and put in a mental institution anyone they believe or they deem to be mentally unstable or homeless people. So right now, all a police officer needs, you don't have to break the law. A police officer can just see you drive in and stop you. And you go, yo, why you stop me, officer? Let me see your ID. What law did I break? What did I do? And he can go, you know what? You're mentally unstable. And that's it. That was signed into law. I will repeat again. If the Second Amendment was to stop tyranny of government, we would all be headed to DC right now with our AR-15s. The Second Amendment was instituted, was put into place to ensure that if Black people rise to seek vengeance for slavery, they have a way to defend themselves. There's only two groups of white people in America, in this world, who have, well, three, I guess, with Switzerland. Three groups of white people in this land who have an unalienable right, or whatever it's called, two ones. And those two people are people who live with and have oppressed Black people. South Africans, white Americans. And that whole reason is South Africans, if the Blacks rise to seek vengeance for apartheid, the whites have a way to shoot back. If the Blacks rise in America to seek vengeance for slavery, the whites have a way to shoot back. That is the whole reason we have a Second Amendment. It has nothing to do with government. Because today, July 25, Trump signed an executive order. All a police officer has to do is say you are mentally unstable, and it is done. If you are homeless and you're sleeping in your car, that means you are mentally unstable. And if a doctor rules you mentally unstable, like people with, y'all don't understand how bad this is. Y'all really don't understand how bad this is. It is time to pack and leave. It has been time for a while, but now it's like definitely guaranteed. So yeah, I'm gonna start looking for a Nigerian sugar mama. It's time to get the fare.
So basically what they saying now is that it's going to be illegal to struggle. So they're saying the executive order has been passed where people with mental illness and homeless people will be admitted for psychiatric evaluation. And you know what these buildings are? These buildings are hospitals. Hospitals, but hold on, stay with me. Now, TikTok, I got freedom of speech. This is my opinion. But do y'all remember when they just passed a bill that shut down all of these hospitals and not all of a sudden they finna use them as mental institutions, allegedly? They are setting this stuff up brick by brick. I'm telling y'all, they passing one thing at a time, but in the end, it's gonna have a big effect on everybody. Y'all know how hard it is to maintain in society today? So now homeless people will be looked at like criminals? Bro, no. Everybody is just one bill away from being homeless. If you're not one bill away from homeless, lose your wallet. Let your bank account just say zero, just one. Watch. Y'all better wake up, man, and get yourself together. Now is not the time to be playing.
So dig this. Today, Trump signed an executive order to force cities to lock up homeless people in institutions to clean up the streets. You know, because nothing says freedom like forced psychiatric commitment. Clearly, like everything else he does, this is a PR campaign to make homeless people disappear like our immigrants. If people don't see poverty, it just doesn't exist, right? It must be gone. Like magic. Poof. He's dangling federal money to cities that ban urban camping, otherwise called having a place to sleep, and wants to defund programs that actually reduce harm because apparently helping people is too woke. Sorry, Jesus. Look, people don't lose their homes because they're crazy. People go crazy because they lost their homes. You don't kidnap people without a home. You get them housing. That's the solution. Human dignity is the cure. But the felon, he thinks the solution is to make homelessness illegal and mental health optional. We're not solving the crisis. We're criminalizing the symptom. Bullshit.
God, this is so horribly dumb. What's it? Tay, you gotta hear this out. Seriously. He just came out with another executive order. Okay, so he's been coming out with those a lot. What? He's trying to criminalize homelessness, and he's gonna put them in mental health shelters. Yeah, that's not so great. But, and he said he's gonna go after people with ADHD. I'm sorry. What? He gonna go after who? What's so funny? Like, is he gonna go after his own supporters first? Because, you know, they're the ones with the biggest mental illness of all, if we're gonna be serious. Oh, here we go. No, but stop playing around and acting like they're not mentally ill when they try to worship some orange geriatric as a god. Like, that's the furthest thing from a deity I've ever seen in my entire life. And then they try to go portray themselves as good Christians. You know, somebody came in my comment section yesterday talking about the Bible. All right, Tay, you might want to stop it there. Stop playing around, man. Look, they're not about to do anything. You forgot. Like, you don't remember what happened last time? Well, I remember, but nothing stops here except them and their self-esteem. Oh, you need a visual. Okay, oh, please, come on, Tay. Don't roll the clip. Don't embarrass them like this. Roll the clip.
Give up or fall.
Come on, Tay. Did you really have to replay it for them? I did. Because they need to be reminded how many times this happens to them on a regular basis and how bad it gets for them. So relax. We got this. Things are bad, but we're going to handle this. And them.
So there was another executive order placed today, making it illegal to be homeless, especially in California, if history does not repeat itself again. I mean, if you don't understand what they're doing now and creating alligator Alcatraz, I mean, back in the 1960s, black men were arrested for not having a job. But not having a job after being labeled a felon for going to prison for minor crimes, and then jobs not wanting to hire them because they are a felon. On top of some of them being homeless because, I mean, family ain't going to accept you all the time because, of course, people don't want that stigma on them. There was a lot going on. And then I'm hearing this talk about, you know, hospitals being open, psychiatric units, and them making, you know, the homeless people get a psychiatric evaluation. Which I do understand that a lot of them are mentally ill, but not all. It's just ironic that they are taking away a lot of resources for people while simultaneously blaming people for their lack thereof. And if y'all MAGA and Trump supporters don't realize that they are out to eat the poor, make the poor poorer and them richer, because while he's making all these executive orders that literally are detrimental to you and other people who are just trying to make it, he's creating more companies. Him and his people are just creating more wealth for themselves. Like,
thanks to Trump's executive order called Ending Crime and Disorder on America's Streets, it is now illegal to be homeless, and cities and states have the right to remove homeless people to be put in either rehab institutions, which are tent cities built on the outskirts of town, or prison. Those are the two choices. He said this all along. This was well outlined in Agenda 47. Veterans, these are some of your brothers and sisters. It reads, shifting homeless individuals into long-term institutional settings for humane treatment through the appropriate use of civil commitment will restore public order. Forced rehab for substance use disorder or mental health illness in literal tent cities. Maybe like alligator Alcatraz? I don't know. Is this what y'all voted for? Never mind. Please don't answer that. Please don't answer that. I don't want y'all in my comments. I don't want you anywhere near me.
The Trump administration just made it legal today to civilly commit and put someone into an institution who has a mental illness, is homeless, or has an addiction. The ending crime and disorder on America's streets is not at all what it looks like. Let me break this down for you. In Section 2, titled Restoring Civil Commitment, it says the Attorney General with the Secretary of Health and Human Services, so that's Pam Bondi, and RFK Jr., shall take appropriate action to seek, in appropriate cases, the reversal of federal or state judicial precedents and the termination of consent decrees. What that means is that all federal and state case law surrounding civil commitment, they are upending that. With this executive order, the Attorney General and Health and Human Services will provide assistance to state and local governments to identify, adopt, and implement civil commitment and institutional treatment that allow for appropriate commitment and treatment of individuals with mental illness. So if you remember, we go back to where it said that all the judicial precedents and the consent decrees are out the window. That is your due process. What this means is that anybody can say that you're mentally ill and that you're a danger to others or yourself. You don't have to have a mental illness at all, or you can have a mental illness, such as major depressive disorders. It's outing everybody. If you are someone who is unsheltered, anyone could say, well, if you're unsheltered, you obviously can't care for yourself because you're not getting a job, you don't have a home. Obviously, you can't care for yourself. Do you see how easy this is? But let me go on. In Section 5, increasing the accountability of people in homelessness programs, we involve HUD. And this one, I mean, the rest of it is all terrible, but this is really sickens me. Section B says, the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, which is HUD, shall take steps to require recipients of federal housing, all federal housing, homelessness assistance, to increase requirements that persons participating in the recipients' programs, just fancy wording for people who are participating in this federal housing, who suffer from substance use disorder or serious mental illness, use substance abuse treatment or mental health services as a condition of participation. That means that you seek mental health services as a condition of retaining your housing. I have no words. No words. It goes on. The Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, in consultation with the Attorney General and Secretary of Health and Human Services, Pam Bondi and RFK Jr., shall, as appropriate and to the extent permitted by law, which we know is bullshit, shall allow or require the recipients of federal funding for homelessness assistance to collect health-related information that the Secretary of HUD identifies as necessary to the effective and efficient operation of the funding program from all persons to whom assistance is provided, and require those funding recipients, people receiving housing, to share such data with law enforcement authorities in circumstances permitted by law, again, bullshit, and to use the collected health data to provide appropriate medical care to individuals with mental health diagnoses, not mental illnesses, not severe mental illnesses, mental health diagnoses, or to connect individuals to public health resources. They don't want to connect you to anything, and we know that. We've seen that for months now. This is the next line on the poem. Germany did this. They are coming for the disabled under the guise of homelessness and substance use disorders and saying, oh, we need to get the quote, crazy people off the streets. It's unfair to everybody, the homeless, the mentally ill, the addicted, and everybody else, because they are vagrants and just to make everybody unsafe. And just like whatever it was, I forget that the Nazi party put out with their National Socialism when they were saying, like, oh, this is what our party's about, and there are all these good things. There's things in there that are actual socialism, and they're like, hey, yeah, that's actually a good idea. But then they sneak in one little part here and one little part there. That's straight fascism. That's what this is. Starts out addressing just kind of more homelessness, and then the wording keeps changing. Just like I said, it talks about people with severe mental illnesses, and then it just goes straight into mental diagnoses. I can tell you from this and being on housing myself that it doesn't matter if you have a mental health diagnosis or not, because either you do or you do, right? This is all a ruse and a guise to create reasons for more camps, more prisons, because it's a lot easier, especially, to come after political dissidents if they deem you as being mentally ill and you don't have the right to due process in that case. To people who are on disability for these things, they're super in danger. We know that Palantir, Peter Thiel, and all those evil people are working with the White House to collect all of this data and more on every single person in the United States so that they can put together a master list so that they know who to go after, and they know where they live, and they know where they work, and they know where they bank, so that they can find you easier. I don't have any words. I can't tell you just how dangerous this is, and I know that most of you will understand and will know, but there's so many people that don't. And I know I'm posting this really late, and it's probably not going to hit your algorithm right or whatever, but so that's why I'm asking if you could please share this EO, share anything else that other people say, because I'm sure there's someone else who's a lot smarter than me and can read through this with more legal understanding than I do. Only reason why I'm doing this is to spread this information, get those people that don't quite get it yet or aren't, or thinking, well, maybe it's not that bad. It really is that bad. Your friends, your family, your coworkers, if you are still riding the fence of whether or not this is fascism, whether or not it's really that bad, you need to wake up and listen, and it's going to get worse. What you decide to do now is what you would have done back in 1942.
President Donald Trump just signed an executive order federally banning all homeless encampments across America. 770,000 people are expected to be affected as a result, forcing them into criminality, drug rehabilitation centers, are clearly the outskirts of every healthy civilization we have. Now, I know y'all can't tell by my appearance, but I really feel bad for these people because I used to be homeless. As a person that slept on God's green earth, that has slept in homeless encampments, that have slept on the streets, I know firsthand that everybody that's in an unfortunate situation isn't a drug addict, isn't a criminal. When you sit up here and you destroy these encampments, you really fuck with the last hope people have at being moral. Some people don't meet the standards of the local shelters around the city, whether it be age limit, identification, documentations. It be little technical that stop thousands of people from receiving help in America on a daily basis. Now, y'all, I want you to know sometimes the police will wake you up in a public place and tell you, you cannot sleep here, you cannot loiter here, you cannot solicit here. And they see with their eyes that you ain't doing nothing, you just trying to get some sleep and mind your business. But guess what? It is now a federal crime to be homeless. I feel like this executive order will cause America to become a hellish place, far beyond what we already experiencing, and here's why. What else do you expect people to do if they want to be left alone, minding their business, with nothing to believe in, with nobody to comfort them? And you gonna come and tell these people they can't exist, basically?
It's the biggest piece of dog shit.
Of course, many businesses suffer as a result of homeless encampments, but where y'all hearts at? Do y'all even care that some people just might not be well off? My heart is personally broke at this one, dog, because I know so many people that commit petty crimes just to go to jail because they can't receive any assistance on the street. So we truly have a problem. Y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments, because I'm speechless. Damn, it's a crime to be impoverished.
Apparently being homeless now is a crime. No, like literally Donald Trump just signed a bill for it to be a crime. You will get arrested. You will get some prison time. What the frick is a homeless person supposed to do? Hide under a freaking rock? Not exist? Y'all acting like this is a crime that someone chooses to commit. This is not a crime. Maybe if people actually sat there and helped, people wouldn't be homeless. And now y'all making things even worse for them by making it a crime to where they could go to jail. But then again, y'all is always talking about the tax dollars and how too much expenses, but now y'all gonna be wasting even more money because now y'all gotta feed them in prison. Which technically I feel like if you're homeless, you technically get a roof over your head and food every day. Kind of feels like a win-win, but also then again your freedom is taken away from you. I don't know anymore. I feel like someone needs to really take into consideration the actions that keep, being made and the actions that keep being taken, because something is off. Something is off.
All right, y'all, buckle up. Let's break this mess down real plain and real raw. Donald J. Trump just signed an executive order that makes it easier for cities to forcefully remove homeless people from the streets. Not with housing, not with dignity, but with handcuffs, forced treatment, and punishment. And the MAGA folks are clapping like he's done solved world hunger. No, MAGA, he just made being poor and sick a federal crime. So Trump's order does three dangerous things, right? The first and the most obvious is it criminalizes homelessness. If you're caught sleeping outside, not because you want to, but because you have no other place to go, this order makes it legal for cities to arrest you, fine you, and toss you into involuntary treatment, like it's the 1950s again. Number two, it defunds reduction programs. Clean needle exchanges, Narcan, safe use sites. These save lives. But Trump's order tells agencies to stop funding those, based on a lie that they promote drug use. That's like shutting down hospitals because people are getting sick. And number three, it kills the housing first model. For over 20 years, Republicans and Democrats agreed. Get folks into stable housing first, then treat mental health and addiction. Why? Because that works for some people. But Trump wants to reverse that. He's basically saying, no help unless you're sober first, knowing damn well that people cannot recover while sleeping in a damn alley. But I'm gonna tell you why he's doing this. And it's pretty simple. He's not trying to fix homelessness. He's basically trying to erase it from public view before the election. I don't know how many times I have to tell you, Trump does not do policy. He does a lot of performance. He wants cities to look clean for the cameras, even if that means pushing people into prisons, jails, psych wards, and early graves. You don't have to take my video for it. Fact check me. Housing first saves lives. This was proven by HUD, the CDC, and every major homelessness.org in the country. Harm reduction reduces overdose deaths. Trump's own CDC has that data. He just doesn't care. Not to mention that most people are homeless because housing costs too much. It's not always the fact they choose the streets. That's the lie that rich people tell just to avoid accountability. This, to me, is just not leadership. It's not presidential. This is authoritarian cruelty, dressed up in a goddamn flag. America's homeless crisis is not going to be solved by police vans and padded rooms. It's only going to be solved by building affordable housing, offering real mental health care, and giving people a damn chance. You can't punish poverty out of people, but you can build a society where we don't throw folks away. If the government can force homeless people into institutions for their own good, how long before they come for anyone who's poor, sick, addicted, or just inconvenient? Think about it.
The question isn't why are you homeless? The question is, Why do we accept an economy that makes homelessness inevitable? And that is my response to Donald Trump's executive order, essentially making homelessness illegal, that he signed yesterday. Because homelessness isn't caused by criminals or lazy people. It's caused by stagnant wages. It's caused by greedflation. It's caused by a completely destroyed social safety net. And it's mostly caused by unaffordable housing, as corporate landlords bought up all the houses in the United States to jack up the price of rent. A minimum wage that won't even cover just rent in any of the 50 states. They tell you to pull yourself up by the bootstraps. Those boots are more than your paycheck. They don't get that. Or maybe you were just unfortunate enough to have an emergency room visit. That's about all it takes these days to drive someone into homelessness. American exceptionalism. It's just a nicer way of saying, look at how rich the richest people are. Thanks.
Hi everybody, so I'd like to do another follow-up in regards to Donald Trump's executive order which he signed yesterday, which criminalizes homelessness, effectively making homelessness in the United States illegal. There's been a little bit more detail to this, and it's even more disturbing than the first in many ways as well. So the ACLU has been looking at this, and this is where the source comes from this particular standpoint. And they're saying that so in regards to this executive order where Donald Trump is making homelessness illegal, and also giving more powers to the police and funding to clean up the streets, as he puts it. It also, if you have a mental disability or you have mental health issues in the United States, and you come under the bracket of not in permanent housing, you will be forced into an institution. This is absolutely right. This is what they're saying. This is what the executive order is saying. So if you have a mental health disability or mental health issues and you fall into the bracket of not having permanent housing in the United States, you will be institutionalized by force. Folks, the source for this particular one is ACLU, and this is a really great article if you pick it up. My name is Nick. Love you guys to give me a follow, and let me know what you think about this in the comments. Please let me know.
In 2024, the number of homelessness, or the people that were homeless, is accounted for between 700 to 800,000 people, and they normally look at the statistics from, the increased emergency shelters, then the transitional housing, and then of course the increased number of people that are actually sleeping on the streets. From what the statistics are showing, they show that it is an increase of 18% compared to the previous years, but we are talking about 2024, which means there's definitely something that is going on wrong, why people are ending up on the streets, right? From experience, I have friends and family of people that almost became homeless in 2024. And 2024, I don't even know what was wrong with that. I had a family member that literally almost went into homelessness in just a blink of an eye, because it comes to you before you even know it, before you even breathe, before you even catch a breath, to be honest. It comes to you. This person got into an accident, and all of a sudden, the job situation got messed up because they could not be hired, right? And the American society, the way it is designed and shaped, is so different from Africa, because over here, if something like that happens to you, I'm gonna give you a place to stay. In America, people will live with you when they are literally they're like, when is he leaving? Or when is she leaving, right? And to make matters worse, it's not because they don't love you, but it's because that is how it is designed to be, right? So you see how quick someone can literally go homeless. The jobs that you're looking at, nobody's hiring. People have been complaining and saying that there's a lot of sites where jobs are put there. But as soon as people apply, people are not hiring. So what is the essence of putting those jobs up there? So this man makes it seem like that all people that are going homeless are people that are lazy, are people that don't want to work. And now there's just so much that it is opening my eyes to. Black people have been saying that this man wants to bring slavery back. If at some point he wants these states to capture and kidnap these people and force them into mental institutions, right? This is a man that is shameless, that will be like, the state can't be providing services to these people to rehabilitate them when they are not doing or putting anything back into the state. Because do not forget that some of the safety nets that were there helping the citizens to actually cope up with some of these issues, right? He termed it as useless spending, wasteful spending, right? So what guarantees you, or what makes you think that he will not be like, oh, okay, now we are rehabilitating them, but they need to provide some sort of labor. Meanwhile, he's dealt away with all, the immigrants, the people that have been doing the work on the farms, right? They are not there anymore. And Americans were like, we are not going to go on those farms. Guess what? He's going to force those homeless people into the farms. At least that is what is rushing in my head, because after you being forcefully gotten from the streets, not because you've committed a crime, but because he wants to look good in front of the international community. Because let's not forget, one of the reasons as to why people have criticized America so bad is it's literally like one of the richest economies, right? But the level of homelessness, and when this whole TikTok was exposed, like people went on Red Note and saw what is happening all around the world, and they're like, what? And other countries didn't have homelessness. Trump is a competitor. They be wanting to literally compete and get everything. Now all of a sudden he wants to be in AI simply because China is into it, right? Now, because China does not have homelessness, yes, I should also be looked like this country should also be like that. Okay, it might sound good that, of course, there's no homelessness. That is not a problem anymore. But what are you going to do to the people that you're taking off the streets? Are you providing shelters? Oh, let's not forget that actually people that come from, low-income areas that have been staying on affordable housing, yes. He said, you have to live on that whatever affordable housing, whatever service for a certain period. You're not meant to live there for forever, okay? So if your income is not raising and you're on affordable housing, you'll be kicked off that as well. Do you see how simple it is for you to become homeless? And on top of it, housing is becoming like extremely expensive for you to own a house. Not just that, the rent keeps going high. People have been complaining about how expensive housing is. The entire cost of living, one of the things he promised that he's coming to literally, calm down the extreme cost of living that is going high, right? Say he want to lower the prices of gas, the eggs, all these beautiful promises that he made, things keep getting worse. America is becoming better for the billionaires. Meanwhile, it is becoming so hard for people that struggle so hard to put these billionaires where they are, right? The people that pay taxes, the governments don't even give about them. All they care for is go to Scotland and open more other golf courses. Go and golf on days when people are literally going through. Guys, what is wrong with this man? Just so recent, people are crying. Yeah, people are crying. The flood swept their houses. He didn't even shake a bit. He went golfing. Yeah. People that had houses that went down in the house fires. Yeah. All these things that are happening, he does not give a care. And these are the reasons as to why people go homeless. And he wants to force them into mental institutions. I'm done. And people are done with this man, but I don't know what they have to do. From experience, a lot of people, some of you have been homeless before. And if you look and evaluate yourself, you know for sure it was not because you were lazy. It happens. Yeah? For me, what hurts the most is the safety nets. Do you remember this program? Is it Job Corps? That was helping young black boys, right, to give them skills. You remember that, right? He ended that. And guess what? It was not only black boys that were benefiting from that. I made that video and a lot of people were saying, oh, you know, it really didn't do so much and all of that. But my brother, my sister, even if it probably did not do so much, but for it to give you a shelter, a dormitory to go and lay your head at and not suffer and struggle in all those cold winters, you guys, it's like those countries are like even cursed. The coldness, if it is cold, it is extremely cold. And if it is hot, it is extremely hot. Yeah? For someone to help you as a young man, as a young woman that probably comes from a broken family that does not care, right? And then they give you a shelter where you're going to put your head, not to turn to all these other hands and eyes that are literally spying on you, just waiting for you to make one wrong move and you will be trapped. That's like a huge thing. And then to make matters worse, Medicare, the healthcare system and all of that, every person that is going through any mental issue, it's like they don't even recognize mental illness. Because if he's going to literally diagnose you guys to be with mental issues just because you're homeless, and to make matters worse when it comes to black people, aren't you the ones that are known for standing up for yourself and speaking up? I know my rights. One of the brothers mentioned it in here. They'll be like they were aggressive. They have a mental mental illness issue. Don't forget they manufactured mental illnesses in the 60s, 70s, 50s. Yeah, simply because they wanted to incarcerate black men. And all these mental illnesses were specifically for black people. My goodness, America is so scary to live in. This used to be a dream, right? To a lot of us that are watching from the diaspora. But now when we watch, one thing that rushes to our minds are like, our people. Our people. Because we know the target is you and the poor, palm-colored people, the sick. He doesn't want to see an America with sick people. He doesn't want to see an America with poor people. That's why he covers up for all the billionaires. But what do I know? You, my people, know better because you live in the belly of the beast. The divided and, the United States of embarrassment. You will let me know what you think in the comment section. Do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Cause from me for today, that's it. I love all of you and I'll see you in another amazing video. Until then, my name is Gracie. Bye.